All right, we are rolling. Okay, so all right, so I'll just start stepping through the solo and just bring out anything I think we need to talk about. So you got the first part. All right, and then this part right here, I'm using economy picking. Like basically in this whole thing, I'm using economy picking in the sense of that doesn't mean that I never jump over any strings. That just means I'm using the most efficient way of picking something. So I'll give you for
Okay.
examples.
Is that necessitated because of the speed, or is necessitated because it's a jazzy solo, or both?
Uh, it's necessitated because I'm just using the path of least resistance, and as long as it sounds good. I mean, if I were to pick something with economy picking and it didn't swing or bounce or whatever it needed to do, then I would say, okay, I'm going to use alternate picking. But it seems to me that, the economy picking thing works, okay, for this. But that doesn't mean that I'm picking every note, obviously, and it doesn't mean that whenever I do pick that I'm always like going from string to string with a single stroke. Like for instance, with this, uh, let's see. See, it just so happens that the way the phrase works, it allows me to use economy picking right here in the
Hmm.
truest sense of the word, meaning whenever I'm going from string to string with a pick stroke, that it happens to be a sweep, if you will,
Okay.
right? And I guess
Yeah.
you can see that on camera here, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not having to jump over any strings right there. So anyway, and that helps facilitate, the speed. It just makes it easier to do when you can do that. So you got a whoop. Now usually whenever I'm playing this solo, I'll play it on my guitar with no dots because I have
Uh-huh.
that guitar set up with higher action. This action is more, Holdsworth action where it's really
Well, I'm
low and
glad I'm glad that maybe when we're done running through this, you could switch guitars and do the solo so I can hear the difference. But I'm happy you've got the dot place markers so I can see where your fingers are.
well, I mean, you can hear the difference when you watch that video I made.
Sure.
Uh, it's like you don't hear a lot of this where the string is slapping up against the fretboard because it's so low.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, let's see, where am I? Okay, so and you can actually pick lighter so that doesn't happen, but I'm so used to the other guitar now with the higher action, I'm picking harder than really I should for this particular guitar. So then the next thing here, you got a let's see. So this right here, this lick right here, you got a pull off, and then picking every note. And
Hmm.
this allows me this because the way everything is set up. Again, I can use economy picking. So whenever I'm picking this phrase, I'm starting with a downstroke because I typically start everything with a downstroke 99% of the time. Okay,
Yeah. Too.
so you got down. Now I'm you know picking an upstroke on the next string, and then up, down. So whenever I'm going from the A to the D string, it's a sweep that's being used because it just works out that way. That's like one of those happy, you know, what do you call it? Serendipity. It feels really weird to play it on this guitar because the action is so low. Okay. Anyway, so after that, so So yeah, again, like whenever I'm going from here to here, it works out that I can, use a sweep. But whenever I'm going back, I have to jump over the string to get back to where I was. Let's see. So again, I'm just, here I'm using a lot of hammer-ons and pull-offs. So in this thing right here, let's see where I'm going. This has got those hammer-ons from nowhere. I'm playing the A string, picking it, and then I'm hammering on with my middle finger on the low E, right? To that type of thing, right? Okay, this is kind of really tough to get down, this whole slidey thing that he does, because you have to have the timing right so it sounds correct. Let's see.
How did you did you just practice it all a bunch of times and listen to it a million times?
Yep, just doing it over and over and over and over a gazillion times until you're ready to vomit.
Got it.
There's a little rhythm thing going on there that you got to, really pay attention to. All right, then after that, let's see. Now this next part is probably the one part that gave me the most trouble, the part that I'm about to go over, of the whole solo. Anyway. So that part right there is the toughest part for me. And I've practiced that thing a million times. And there's other parts that seem like they would be harder for me than this part, but this one is just the...
Can you slow it down a little bit and still play through it?
Yep. So we got... So this part isn't so bad. Whoa, let's see. Like that. So this part isn't so bad. And this is the tough part. Now, whenever I'm playing this at full tempo, I kind of think, well, I know I hammer that on from nowhere. I don't pick that note, and then whenever I do this, I think I hammer that on like that, and then, and okay, and then. Okay.
One more time. The whole phrase coming into the progression.
keep in mind this is going to be an MP4 file that you can drop and transcribe, and that thing that I just played really slow, you can slow that down.
Yeah, okay, well that's good.
Yeah, okay, so when you slow that down, it's going to be like this. It's just going to be ridiculously slow.
I'll have Doodle for reference.
There you go. Okay, so anyway, after this, so after that, that part's kind of tough too.
All right, let's go over that a couple of times.
Just making that transition, because you're going from like this to this, right? Just usually whenever I play this in the morning first thing, I'll go like this, and I feel something snap, or I hear a, like a crack, like when you crack your knuckles or whatever.
Yeah.
So again, okay, and then this part, and you got to be careful with these phrases, because a lot of times he'll start like on the E of the 16th note. Or the and so you got to really pay attention to that. Or an upbeat.
Can you play the first part of it, not the stretchy part of the riff, but the first part of that passage?
So yeah, let's see. So you got, let's see. And then you got the stretchy part. So let's see, where am I? Whoop. Okay.
Yeah.
See, after that, then you got this. So you got to really pay attention to how that it's phrased, and I'm not picking every note. See, like this. See, if you were to go, it doesn't sound right. Pat made a comment that usually guys that pick every note gets on his nerves because it doesn't swing right. He said except for like Pat Martino. He's like, he'll go hear Pat Martino play, and then he'll go home and have to practice his picking, because he's like, he can pick every note but everything swings. He doesn't understand how that happens.
Hey, at some time, are you versed with Pat Martino? Do you know you don't know his music either? I want to hear, because Pat Metheny listens to him. I want to find out what the best Pat Martino songs are.
You could probably Google it.
Yeah, I will. Okay. Sorry.
We'll see ya. Now, I used to do this like that, but now I'll play it like this, because whenever I'm playing it super fast up to tempo, if I'm going like this, it's just, there's so much like velocity or whatever going on that it kind of knocks me out of position almost if I try to do that, and it's just better if I go. So Let's see. You know, at least he doesn't have, you know, all that kind of stuff in it.
Yeah, like the pentatonic pandemonium. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Let's see. But still, yeah. I mean, this is super hard too. Let's see. Where am I at from this?
Can you play that last passage really super slowly?
Okay. So you got. See, whenever I'm playing it that slow, I don't know if I'm playing it right. So you could be learning something that's not even right. I have to play it at least. I have to play it at least about like this. You got to remember, you're going to be able to bring this in the transcribe. And so what I just played there, when you slow it down to 50%, trust me, it's going to be like this. It's going to be like that slow, man.
Okay, but there's a whole thing about watching your fingers do it, your hands do it naturally and do those slides.
I get that, but like I say, if I play it too slow, then I'm not going to play it right because it just, you know what I mean?
Okay, well, we'll walk the line.
Okay, I'll play it as slow as I can accurately, because if it's too slow, I'll be adding stuff or taking away stuff, or you know, adding a slide or not a slide, or picking when I should be hammering or whatever, you know. Let's see. So okay, then after that. See, I'm having trouble playing it that slow. Okay, there's that lick, and then after that, you got this one. Whoops, wait a second, hang on. Okay, so we got. Whoops. Now I'm not even sure if I'm playing it right. So I think it's. Okay, so let me try this again. Okay, almost. That's it. Okay?
All right, do it fast.
All right, let's see.
That sounds right.
See, I'm not used to this feel of this guitar, you know, compared to that other guitar.
Man, it sounds great.
Anyway, so then you got this tritone lick. Again, it's like. That one's pretty easy. Then after that. Okay.
Sounds good. Those really weird, kind of snaky riffs are what make that solo sound so good.
Yeah.
And it's like all the phrasing and a little like, you know, like where you bring it up and, you know, kind of like mute it and it's just special.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on. Sorry to.
Okay. So the next part is. Alright, so that part again, I'll try to play a little slower. Now how I really play this up to tempo is like this. And then I'll hammer on the G string. And if I'm playing it at 70 or 80%, I might go and pick the G string, but up at that super, you know, full speed. And I think that's what he does too, is does that hammer on from nowhere. So you got. Now this took me a while to get down. Again, I'm using economy picking, but I'm having the jump strings, you know, like this would be a sweep. But here I'm having to jump over the high E to get back to the B string. Now I'm sweeping from the B to the G string, and then I come back, pick the G string, pull off, alright, and then back to the B string. Jump over the high E, back to the B, up. up to the G. Down on the G, pull off, back to B. And it took me a while to get this down. I think this pick is getting wore out. And where'd all my picks go? Who knows?
What do you use to get your 3mm Dunlop stummies?
Well, I used to go to Strings and Beyond.
Yeah.
Because that was the only online place I could find them. And then this student of mine that I had like back in 2000, I don't know, 8 or something, a long time ago, he ended up getting a job with Dunlop.
Uh-huh.
And he went to high school with my daughter. And
so you have a special connection with him.
Yeah.
So you get him like dirt cheap.
Free.
I gotta still go to Strings and Beyond unless I work something out with you.
Well, yeah, I get them for free. I don't get them dirt cheap. I get them free.
Really? Something.
Huh? Well, you know, he sent me a whole bunch of them, right?
Uh-huh.
And you know, he hasn't heard back from me. You know, I don't know. I'd kind of feel if I was like doing something like that, I wouldn't feel right.
Strings and Beyond. Okay.
Strings and Beyond, they sell them.
Alright, cool. I think they sell those Steinberger Ultra White 8, 838 sets of double ball, lamellas. The Ellen Holder set.
I heard that Alan uses 10s now.
He does it when he's not playing Steinbergers.
So he uses them on the carbons.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had to sit there, like I would watch like a Survivor episode for an hour and just go. So it would just start to feel second nature. Of course I would take breaks, I might do this straight for like maybe a minute, and then I would take a little break, and then another minute, or 2 minutes, take a break like that, and just do that.
There are several parts of this solo where, one of them that I think is 1 or 2 passages back, where I think you were down in the lower and you were doing down there by,
yeah. Something like that.
Yeah, so that's a practice rep, right?
Yeah,
too.
but
So
that I didn't really have to work on that much. It was this one, it was that one, and then this one. I would have to go and right, just do that over and over again. Right, because to make it.
Did you go over that part of the solo yet?
Yeah, I told you this was one of the ones that gave me a lot of trouble, because it went from. See, I'd have to do that a lot. And just do it over and over and over and over and over. Let's see, where were we? So we ended up with that. We ended up. I had to work on that too quite a bit. And then we've got this melodic part. So this part is pretty easy. Okay, this part gets kind of treacherous. to break that up into different parts. So it's okay. So
Yeah, first part.
and he does this, and I hammer on from nowhere, go into that D string like that, and then you got. Now in the tab it says to go here, but I don't go there. I actually do this. But this note, you barely hear. It's almost like a ghost note, like you'll just barely hear it, because I just found that too awkward to, to do that, right? So so then here, and then this is another one of those hammer-ons from nowhere on the A string. I'll play this real slow. Actually, I think I just showed you wrong. Hang on. That's it. It goes here. Okay, so let me try it again. And then we go here. That's another one of those hammer-ons from nowhere. And then we've got, so now we're dealing with two strings right here and pull-offs. Right, so we go from here to here. Whoop. And then. So that's something to work on. That little transition there. And then. So all together you gotta. So you gotta. Like that. I don't even think that was like quite up to speed, but just feels weird.
Man, that's a lot to bite off.
Yeah.
The solo's incredible.
Yeah.
It's profound.
Mm-hmm. Let's see, where are we at after that? Oh. So a real melodic part. So you got. Whoops. I can't even play that slow. That's it. Whoop. That's it. So you got then you got this next melodic part. Again, so you got where was I? Oh. Okay, now this part coming up gets pretty hairy. You got so this part right here kind of is like some of the other parts in the song, in the solo. Then you got and then whoop, that's the one part I messed up on that recording there. See how I'll push